Welcome back to the vlog. Welcome back to social studies. Let's read this real quick. It was July 1776 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. More than 50 men came together and said, "We declare that these united colonies are free and independent states. Each of the 13 colonies was governed by Britain. That made the colonists British subjects." What do you think we're talking about today? If you guessed American Revolution, pat on the back. So, we're going to talk about the American Revolution. We're going to do that in 2 different days. The first day is going to be a broad overview of what happened to the American Revolution, kind of all pieces of the country. And then tomorrow, we're going to talk more about how Indiana was involved in the American Revolution. After we go through today, you're going to give me a vlog. You're going to give us a vlog about what you thought of the American Revolution. It can be what you already knew about it, maybe something new that you learned today, some people in it. It can be whatever you want related to the revolution. So let's start off with the general topics of the American Revolution. So if you remember, we just got done talking about the French and the Indian War, and the British won that, but it left them with a lot of debt. And debt is like money that they owe to someone else because they had to pay for the soldiers and the weapons and the food and all that stuff. So they owed a lot of money to win that war. And one way that they tried to pay that money back was they raised the taxes, or what the citizens pay to the government so they could make more money. They raised the taxes on the colonists. And King George, so they did it like through the Stamp Act and a whole bunch of different types of taxes. Another thing that the King George the Third, fancy did, was he made a proclamation. And the proclamation said that no one could move west of the Appalachian Mountains. That kind of made a lot of the colonists mad. They had like this pretend line that they couldn't cross. So there was this ruler that was way, way far away, making all the rules that for the people that lived in the spot he didn't even really know. So they were pretty mad. And so they started to rebel. Believe it or not, 1776 is when we declared, or when those 50 men gathered together and wrote the Declaration of Independence. But believe it or not, the American Revolution started before that. There was a battle in 1775 in Lexington and Concord. In June 1775, the famous Battle of Bunker Hill was a huge battle that started off the whole war. So the war had already started. We just didn't declare our independence until July 1776. So let's talk a little bit about the revolution and kind of how it happened. So the American Revolution happened when the colonists, or all the people who lived in the original states, kind of started organizing and planning to fight for their independence. And they did this a wide variety of ways. Some joined the army, the Continental Army, led by George Washington. And this joining the army obviously made King George really furious. And they had a lot of successful small little battles against the British. And the reason they were so successful is because they would kind of like attack and then run away and then kind of turn back into normal citizens. It was really hard to tell who was in the colonist army, and that made it really hard for the British. Another way that they started fighting back against the British was they stopped paying the taxes. All that money that would normally go to the soldiers that were there was no money left for the soldiers. So they started to get really mad as well. Let's see, I'm going to check my book here to see what else we have here. So going back to the Continental Army, they really got together in 1776 after George Washington formed them. They won a major battle, a really important battle. They defeated the British at Saratoga, New York. When they won this battle, it kind of showed the world that, hey, the Americans, because we weren't even called the Americans yet, But the colonists could actually win this war, and that won the support of the French, who decided to sell us goods and weapons and food. But not only did they did that, but some French armies actually joined us as well because they kind of wanted to get back for losing the French Indian War. So that battle right there was really important because it helped us solidify or really form our country and get support from around the world as they saw us as a different country. The revolution took 6 long years. That's a really long time. And it was all across the colonies. There was battles. About 5,000 American colonists joined the Continental Army. Women also joined the army, and some even fought in the battlefield. But to do that, they actually had to pretend to be men because they weren't allowed to fight back then, which I think is completely unfair. So by 1781, Washington had led all of his soldiers to victory at Yorktown, and that's kind of the last major battle in our fight for independence from Britain. So it took, I think, almost six long years for that war to be over. That is how we won our independence. Soon we will talk about what we did after our independence. Tomorrow we're going to talk about what Indiana contributed to the American Revolution. But like I said today, you guys can go back to your books if you want to read about your books. Read through the books, sorry. But I want you to make a blog or a vlog. Some of you guys like to make the vlogs about what you already knew about the American Revolution, what you want to know more about, things that I missed maybe, who important people were, or just interesting facts that you might have about it. And let us hear it. So that is it for today's vlog, and I will see you in the next one.